Oh boy, Avowed. Most of you can probably already guess what's gonna happen with Avowed, and it's not exactly gonna be great. In fact, it's probably gonna be pretty bad, which is honestly sad. When Avowed first came out, the news about it started spreading. I was excited. I was expecting something good, okay? Maybe not Fallout New Vegas, and yes, I'm obviously gonna mention Fallout New Vegas because Fallout New Vegas is the benchmark for these types of games and the quality that I want to see, and I will not stop mentioning it because it is the benchmark of what I want to experience at the bare minimum. I am not gonna lower my standards just because some loser developers can't handle them. That's their problem, not mine. But in any case, Avowed started off pretty good, I would like to say. I liked the world design, I liked the idea, and it seemed kinda okayish. And then we got more and more and more news about it, which slowly started to poison the well. But the well deserved to be poisoned in this case, so it wasn't a bad thing. And pretty fast people started to understand that Avowed is most likely going to be a woke disaster. Starting from the art director that literally said, "Oh, I'm trying to piss off Elon Musk and Blue Skies and all of that stuff," to now the director of Avowed has said something stupid, but I don't exactly know what. It's just rumors at this point. This thing right here is happening that we're going to be covering. Avowed's major missing launch feature cuts against the game's content grain, which is a fancy and stupid way to say this game that got delayed, and they said that it's going to be touching up and just making it slightly better, got delayed, and it's going to be missing features. So it turns out the delay was they were not cutting it on time. Okay. Now, thankfully, this delay is most likely just going to be New Game Plus. And honestly, you're playing a role-playing game? I don't even know why you need a New Game Plus. If you want a new... There's no power scaling. There's going to be none of that in this game. So New Game Plus doesn't fundamentally even make sense, in my honest opinion. If you want New Game Plus, just make a new character. That's it. That's your New Game Plus. It's like in Starfield. What's the point of New Game Plus? Well, in one dimension, Sarah Morgan is she Morgan even? I don't know. Sarah is a house plant. Yeah, yeah. Okay, 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 Bethesda. She's a house plant. Wow. How does that salvage the fact that the game's shit? Huh? How does that help me deal with the fact that the game is boring slop shit? It doesn't. It doesn't. I'm mad. Okay? And Avowed is kind of the same boat. Admittedly, I don't even see the reason for having a New Game Plus. One thing that people are also currently whispering, but we don't have confirmation. We had previously confirmation that Avowed is not going to be targeting 60 FPS because, 30 is just such a great visual experience and shit. But turns out, maybe Avowed is going to hit that 60 FPS mark that, reasonable people kind of expect from other games. But for some reason, we see 60 FPS less and less and less and less. Even though the graphics are not exactly being pushed forward, they're pushed backward for most of the time now, honestly. But that's a completely different story, at this point, Jesus. But in any case, maybe in Avowed, you're gonna be able to have a 60 FPS, boys. That's right, you are gonna be able to have what I can only describe as most likely jank 60 FPS. AKA, it's gonna stutter, it's gonna lag, some things are gonna pop in, some things are gonna break, maybe there's a missing wall here or there, that kind of 60 FPS. Because of course, why honestly not? What do you expect from Avowed at this point? The small bits of dialogue that we have seen are literally Dragon Age Veilguard, the difficulty of puzzles. Remember how you got introduced to Dragon Age Veilguard puzzles? Here's an empty socket in a small, completely empty room. There's one closed door, and then there's this thing floating that you can put into the socket, and that's your puzzle. That's literally your puzzle. And also, that's an insult to your intelligence, obviously. And people hated it, obviously, because we're not animals. We're not developers. We're not dumb animals. But in any case, let's get into Avowed. I wondered, by the way, considering they're gonna cut content that technically should have been there, is this not a breach of modern day terms of service for Steam? The debate for Obsidian Entertainment's Avowed is finally coming to a close, as its February 19th release date draws near. Literally 10 days, by the way, with the RPG shaping up to be an exciting extension of the Pillars of Eternity franchise. I bet it's gonna be so exciting. More details are starting to surface regarding the finer mechanics that the title will not include, with the absence of one feature in particular drawing some question marks from fans. Obviously, this feature being missing is not drawing anyone's attention because, again, most people don't really care about New Game Plus. You're playing a role-playing game at the end of the day. So that means New Game Plus is not exactly the most sought-after feature. The most sought-after feature about role-playing game is interesting character building, interesting itemization, interesting skills, and more importantly, arguably by far more important, is just interesting dialogues, interesting options, freedom of choice, and all of that things. Which is sadly very much lost in the modern landscape of gaming, where, well, your average choice that developers give you is, do you choose this option that ends good, or do you choose this option that ends also equally good, but someone says a different word at some point? Yeah, that's sadly all of the optioning that we have been getting. In a recent interview, it was confirmed by Obsidian Entertainment that Avowed will not launch with New Game Plus mode, the horror, with there being no plans to eventually add this feature to the game. Like, who even asked for this? I was excited for Avowed, until I wasn't, because I have brain matter, at least some of it left at this point, sadly. I was not excited for New Game Plus. Leave in the comments if you were one of those people who was excited for New Game Plus. Now, New Game Plus can be a decent feature, but it's not necessary. I'm not gonna lie, it's just completely not necessary, especially like a game like Avowed. It's not even necessary, honestly, in things like Dark Souls for most people, but it makes sense at least to have it like there, right? Not only it is a shame to see this fairly common RPG feature, is New Game Plus common in RPGs? Like, what the fuck are you smoking? Be missing from Avowed, but the lack of New Game Plus could directly impact the replayability of this style. I mean, if you have two brain cells working so hard to get third place, yeah. But then you have bigger problems than Avowed not delivering, honestly. Avowed is a title specifically designed to be enjoyed over the course of multiple playthroughs. Yeah, how about you just fucking make a multiple characters in that case? Jesus Christ, you want your New Game Plus? Make the exact same character. There's your New Game Plus. Making the absence of New Game Plus more restrictive than it might initially seem. Who's saying this? Who is actually even remotely close saying this? No one. I love reading these articles from piece of shit websites like Game Rant, The Gamer, IGN, and whatnot, because, like, they just make this stuff up. I have not seen anyone complain about Avowed not having New Game Plus. Now, granted, there's definitely going to be some people, but for the majority, people who are complaining about Avowed are complaining that it looks like fucking slop at this point, nothing else. The lack of New Game Plus in Avowed takes some freedom away from the players. New Game Plus is becoming a growing staple of games with RPG elements, allowing players to start new playthroughs of the title without losing the progress or development of their character. Which, I kind of don't see how this makes sense. Because in most situations, if you don't lose progress from your character, New Game Plus is either just like almost a cheat-esque type of power fantasy, Which you can probably still get by cheating in the first place if you feel like it. I don't know. I don't understand. I don't understand the polar fantasy of New Game Plus. And if it's not, then that just means okay, you're gonna be ending the playthrough. You kill the final boss, and then congratulations. The basic first enemy that you encounter is now the equivalent of the last boss. And it has none of the mechanics, it has none of the complexity, it has none of the epicness. It just has a bigger health pool and hits you harder, which is dumb. I don't like that. But again, maybe you feel differently. Players are usually allowed to keep things like equipment, skills, level ups, and I'm sorry, are they really just padding time by trying to explain what New Game Plus is? Jesus Christ. The story of Avowed seems the players take control of powerful anyway. Oh my god, this whole thing is just padding. Oh, wow, what an article. No one are there any comments? Of course there aren't, because no one likes this shit game, Rand. You should probably honestly just shut down and save everyone the trouble. Losers. In any case, thanks for watching. Have a nice day. Bye bye. Avowed is gonna be trash, by the way, probably. I mean, I'm not buying it. I may be pirating it at best case scenario at this point.